Welcome to the Love, Listen, Talk, Repeat podcast. I'm Wendy Capewell, your relationship specialist, and this podcast is all about things relating and affecting relationships. I'll be interviewing guests who are experts in their profession, learning more about what they do and how they help others. In some episodes, I'll be sharing some insights and tips of my own. So settle back and enjoy. Criticism is a pretty destructive thing. Criticising your partner, a friend, family member or colleague really makes the other person feel miserable, put down and unworthy. It can really affect their self-esteem in the long term, chipping away at their confidence. That's very different from voicing a complaint and telling that person how you feel about their particular behaviour. It's really important when making a complaint to speak from yourself, using the I statement, rather than you did, your fault, you whatever. So for example, if you were to say, I was really upset when you were late home, I thought something awful had happened to you. I would have felt so much less anxious if you'd let me know you had to work late. That way of putting it is much gentler than complaining to your partner, for example, that they're selfish and inconsiderate, because that's possibly how they're going to perceive it. And once these comments become a personal attack on the other, they're likely to respond in a negative way and possibly make a personal attack on you. And so the cycle continues. Before you know it, your relationship is in trouble. I'm talking today about criticism. I wonder how it feels when you're criticised. I know I feel pretty miserable. So can you imagine that when you criticise your partner, a friend, family member or colleague, it's going to really make them feel miserable, put down and unworthy. It can really affect their self-esteem in the long term too, chipping away at their confidence. That's a very different situation than from voicing a complaint and telling that person how you feel about their particular behaviour. Let's think about this one. For a start, it's much more sensible to use the I statement, speaking from yourself rather than directing it at the other person. If you point a finger, whether it's physically or metaphorically at the other person, it's going to feel really negative and really uncomfortable for them. So let's think about it, how you can do it in a kinder way. Say you're talking to your partner. I was really upset when you were late home. I thought something awful had happened to you. I would have felt so much less anxious if you had let me know you had to work late. You see, that's much more gentle than complaining to your partner that they were selfish, inconsiderate, thoughtless. For example, in that example you might have said, so why didn't you tell me you're working late? I've been worried sick about you. You just don't care that I've been worrying so much. I couldn't sleep, I couldn't settle. And you just are. You're inconsiderate, you're just selfish. It's all about you. You imagine how the other person is going to receive that one. So once you start making those comments, and they are personal comments, such as telling your partner that they're selfish and inconsiderate, it's a personal attack on them. And they're going to be likely to respond in a negative way back at you, and possibly make some personal comments about you too. And so the cycle continues because you're going to respond back. And before you know it, your relationship is lots of arguments, bickering, and your relationship is in trouble. I'm sure you can recall a time when you've been criticised at school, work, by a parent when you were younger, and the way you felt. There's nothing worse than being called stupid or selfish, and how those cutting words stayed with you. Once those words, unkind words, are said, it's very hard to take them back. And that person can end up feeling that that is who they are, and they have no opportunity of getting out of it, whereas you can change behaviours. You can't so easily change your traits. If you're told that you are a selfish person, that you're stupid, it's very hard to get out of that. So just be careful of how you say things, and rather than criticising the person, think about how you can address their behaviour. So you can find all the information about this show in the show notes. And you can find lots more on my website, www.yourrelationshipspecialist.co.uk, including the link to my podcasts, and you can also sign up on my newsletter, which has lots more tips and offers. So until next time, bye for now.